Welcome to another episode of Biz in 30. My name's Jim Grund. I'm one of your co-hosts and founders today of Biz in 30. And let me introduce you to our other co-host, Jim Kasper.
Thank you, Jimmy. We have got a really good 30-minute session planned. We have back with us today the czar of Mexican cuisine in Australia, Mr. Stan Teschke. And thank you, Stan, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us again. It's good to see you again. Thank you so much.
Czar of Mexican food. I should use you for my PR. Thank you.
Actually,
Jane.
czar of Mexican cuisine, Stan, if you know what I'm saying, okay?
Right.
So it's good to have you back. Thank you so
Good to
much for
be here.
taking time.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
Jimbo, Stan, let's get back and let's just review a little bit about entrepreneurship and business ownership. And tell us, Stan, maybe the most important lesson that you learned or you could pass on to our viewers regarding entrepreneurship.
Yeah, entrepreneurship is such a tough word. It encompasses so much. I really think there was, I know this sounds trite, but there was a survey done, I don't know, in 1980 or whatever by the Department of Labor on the traits it had to run a small business successfully. And they allotted, I don't know, well, it certainly wasn't millions, but a substantial amount of money, and they gave them a year to put it together. And they came back that to run a successful business, it takes long hours, hard work, good product, good service. So I guess I can end this segment is over. And then they ran it again in 2010. And it's the same thing: long hours, good product, good service. And that's as trite as that sounds, to do that. And then we all have you've heard mission statements, and to go to the corners of the earth, of the stratosphere, whatever. Yeah, that's bullshit, right? You got to come up with something that is more the internal. We had one that was hot food hot, cold food cold. That's it. That's what we stand. Hot food hot, cold food cold. That's what we stood for. Right. And
That's
we
beautiful.
had, through the years, we have different people, and I've seen it is we have customers, and he said, and we used to run a thing of we're giving the waiters and waitresses 100% accountability with the table. So, and the number one thing to do would be to give the meal away free. So complimentary. Anyway, I had a guy call me over. He'd been dining here a long time by himself. He'd come in once a week. And he said to me, he said, I don't really want a free meal. I want to come in and get my chips and salsa, get my meal in a measurable part of time, get my bill and leave. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Hot food hot, cold food cold.
Beautiful. I love that. That is great. So,
Stan, did the labor market cause you any challenges as far as hiring people and getting the right people to do the job?
Well, I mean, these are things, they may not work for other people. These are some of the things that we did. If we took over a restaurant, we would get the staff together and we'd say, I'm going to tell you a couple things. First of all, you're all fired. And now I'm going to tell you the second thing. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to sit at that table and I'm going to be hiring people. And I can guarantee if you want to work for me, I'll hire you. I said, but one thing that will never happen again is that you and I will not have a discussion saying, we used to do nothing. We're going to do it we were going to do it the Taco Bill. Yeah, we're going to do it the Taco Bill way or the Taco Jim way, whatever it is. But if that isn't something you subscribe to, then you shouldn't work here. And you would find you'd lose 30% of your staff because they didn't want to do that because they'd been there so long. They had things. This is how we make made salsa, whatever. But that's what we would do.
Well, we had a discussion about this in our introduction video podcast that creating a culture for your business is so important. and that the people need to be everybody on the same page and create ownership in your job.
Yeah.
That, this is my business. Everybody's got to do it the right way, the way we want it done.
Mhm.
And if you have that synergy, you're going to be successful.
Yeah. That's all it takes. But it's very hard
Got
to
a
do.
crazy question. Got a crazy question, Stan. Sorry to interrupt. And in Australia, do tips get taxed? Is tipping very big?
It
the
wasn't,
weights?
and again, we've always had we pay $27 on Sunday an hour to everybody on Sundays, and then on public holidays they pay 40. I mean, and it's gotten so high. And again, there used to be the thing of always paying cash, but that's gotten harder and harder to do. And
Is that U.S. dollars, Stan? 27?
well, it was $27. It was $27 Australian, so you could add 60% on there. But put it this way, when you're doing dollars here, you're doing dollars just like you do dollars in the States.
Of course. Yeah.
It's just so expensive, and you see and all you have to do, you guys, I'll give you your tip: walk into restaurants 6:00 at night, and they've just opened for service, and there's nobody there. Maybe one table for two, and the rest of them are empty, and they got 4 waiters on, 2 barmen, 5 people in the kitchen. They don't know El Toro poo-poo about wages, because you should roster to the 15 minutes. Right? Oh, but this is hospitality. It's a business, and they're wasting their money. And whenever you see that influx of people standing around, they don't know how to roster. And you see that, yeah. You want to bring those 5 people in at 8:30 when the place is jumping, and you can upsell and everything else that goes along with it. But it's
exactly. Sure, I've seen Stan.
That's common sense, but I mean, we've had cases where franchisees were going out for New Year's Eve, so they left their manager run it. And when he got in that next week, he was talking to someone, and they said, "We're trying to get in on, New Year's Eve, whatever it was, and you were full." He's like, wages don't reflect that. So he went in and he found he had 4 or 5 tables that no one sat at all night. And he said to the manager, we leave those empty in case someone walks in. I mean, the three biggest, it's not so much anymore, but like in our industry, the 3 biggest complaints: you don't greet me when I come in, you don't say goodbye to me when I leave, and you don't bring me my check. Well, with the mobile things now, that's not the same. But the 2 biggest things are you don't
Greetings.
I mean, we were at a Mama's in Maui, which is a very famous restaurant. They've won every award in the world. And we went there for Vicky's birthday, and with another couple, we spent $500. So we had a wonderful evening. And you walked down the veranda as you walked out, past all the awards. And then you had the 2 hostesses plus the 2 car park guys all standing there talking about their soon-to-be newest girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and never said goodbye, never said thank you. And I said, so when I got home, we were driving home, and I said,
that's one of our pet peeves, no question about it. Whether you're in a restaurant or a grocery store or any place,
Well, and so I got home and I sent them a thing saying, look, I said, first of all, this isn't going out on the internet. I'm in the industry. I know how tough it is. But you spend all this money. I bring out my wife. We spend, a decent sum of money, and you won't even thank me for coming in. I said, and you remember that.
Of course. No question about it.
And those are the little things that you can that can tear your business down if you let it get in there.
Oh,
but to their credit, they wrote me back, said thank you. First of all, they said thank you very much for not putting this on the web. We appreciate that more than you'll ever know. But they said if you ever You get back here, you call me. We'll invite you in for dinner.
Well, that's good. That's a
And
good
make it
retention.
right.
Yeah.
Try to make it right? So,
Yeah.
Well,
Question about that.
That's
admit
right.
admit you made a mistake.
Mhm.
I used to say to them, I said, there's nothing, I'm sure
That's a
you
key.
saw it at restaurants. When you're walking, when you know that they have made a stuff up, either the order didn't get put in, and there's two tables ahead of you that came in after you that have their food, and the waitress is creeping by thinking, please don't ask me where your food is. All you would do is walk up and say, here's a little complimentary entree on us. We're a little bit behind. And that's all. Once I know, that's it.
Exactly. I think that's
And
a
that's
really
being aware of your customer and service.
Yeah. Well, you
Exactly.
said it
Like I
before. Sorry, Jim. I think you said it. Listen to your customer, not what you say. Right? Not what you say. Listen to them. They'll tell you what they want.
Absolutely.
we also talked in our opening podcast about obsession, Stan, obsession. So many people are obsessed with what the competitor's doing, or what the guy next door is doing. And I've always felt we built our business on being obsessed with what the customer is doing. And Jimmy always says, yeah, because the customer's success is your success.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
And that's how you did it. So you had the fire challenge, okay, and you had the challenge of starting a new restaurant, okay, or taking over a restaurant. What other challenges that you faced just in business in general, and then how'd you overcome those? Because those are great stories of how you overcame the fire, and that was in episode 1 of your. And you're talking about some of these other challenges you've met. Tell us some more about some of the challenges you faced, but how you overcame them. Because obviously you don't build longevity without overcoming the challenge successfully.
No, but if anything, we took the taco more seriously than anyone else. How you put it on the plate, how you warm the shell, how you make sure the plate is warm so it goes to the table. And nachos, they have to be bubbling. Here's a bubble rim around, so it's cheese delicious. So when you pull the chip off, there's a string of cheese. Unless you have,
Big difference.
if you don't have someone there to, like you guys said in the last one, push that passion. If you think they're going to do that when you're not, they'll do it if you do it all the time when you're there, most of the time. But you let that creep in where it's like the core of the business. This is how we do it at Taco Bell. This is how we do it in the consulting firm. This is how we do it property investment. And you say that to your staff. You may do that at the place you worked at, but this is how we do it here. And if you do that a lot, I mean, the nicest thing probably that I've had as I get sort of the end of the taco road is the number of people that come up and say to me, I learned so much working for you. And they're not in hospitality, right?
Yeah.
They learn something. That's
fantastic.
That's the nicest compliment you can get.
Very good.
That is.
Well, Stan, maybe we could just talk a little bit about our current events here in the United States. As we're, we elected Donald Trump as our 47th president, and today was Inauguration Day, and it was quite a spectacle in Washington, D.C. that was just fantastic to see. And we're just curious about what's the temperature in Australia regarding Trump. Is it behind him or criticizing, or where do you see the posture?
Well, you've got a Labor government, so you got left-wing government. And when he won the first time, there were political announcers and TV presenters who almost started crying. And we're going to leave and move to New Zealand. Well, I don't know why they'd leave Australia, but we heard plenty about it. And everyone I talked to said, "How can you stand him?" I said, "I'm very simple." I said, "Because I know he loves America. Yeah, he's such a terrible man." And I said, "Well, I've got some stories about John F. Kennedy that, if you ever want to, there's plenty of stories about all these people. But tonight when you go to sleep, would you want him guarding?" And I said, you keep saying he does all this crazy stuff. They never had any wars while he was on the economy. Oh, the economy was because of Obama. Oh, of course it was, right? And so I said, well, so, and look, so leading up to this election, I actually could have made a fortune. I really could have, because I said, everyone who asked me, I said, well, he's going to kick her butt. I said it a little more graphically, but
Yeah.
I said, it's going to be a whitewash. How can you say that? I said, because I have friends who have trouble getting enough money to take their kids to the theater or to the football game or whatever, and they're working, and people aren't happy. And the media out here was so anti-Trump, it was unbelievable.
Is that turned
And,
around with his election, or that he
well,
won?
when you got to kiss the emperor's ring,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is what, and they had a former prime minister, Kevin Rudd. He is despicable, but he's the genius and all this. He was the worst president in the history of the American Republic. Trump was, according to Rudd.
Of
and
course.
and then he was so arrogant he wouldn't even take it off his website when Trump had won. So, and people out here, I think I went to one jazz night at a cafe around here, and this woman who was really left, Jewish lady from Florida, said, "Who is any? Everybody who's for Trump, stand up!" I stood up. I was the only one there.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, you don't have to be sorry. You asked me a question. I told you. I stood up. So.
Beautiful.
That's fantastic.
And look, my partner was Iranian. The Iranians love Trump. Love him. The people love him.
Yeah. The expats.
And the Pakistanis and Afghans, they love Trump. Because he's the only one in their eyes that'll stand up to the oppression they're under, and they have a chance of ever getting freedom.
If he has, he really has. Stan, so we've seen a movement across the world since November 5th here in the United States. That was our election day. We've seen a movement across the world towards conservatism. And I don't mean a pseudo movement. I mean an all-out movement. You've got Argentina. You've got France, you've got Italy. France is going to change here soon. You've got Canada with Trudeau. And you're starting to see a movement towards conservatism. Do you see that coming to Australia at all?
Yeah, the Labour Prime Minister is fighting for his life. We're running out of gas. Well, we're not running. We're not allowed to drill for gas. We're not allowed to do any of this stuff, because he wants 100% green renewable, and it can never happen. So people, and then, so they bring in a new system, and it's not going to increase the prices, and the next week the prices go up. Right, and they gave another situation where they gave $750 out. I mean, it's just laughable.
It's
the
terrible.
windmills aren't enough. It was good this morning when Trump said, "Drill, baby, drill." Well, and the U.S. should be selling energy.
Oh, that's the goal. Yeah, that's where it's going to bring our economy down.
Yeah. So we've got today. You may not be aware of that. Right after noon, they swore him in. He signed a bunch of executive orders. Tonight, he signed one that killed the Green New Deal, the green energy. And he also signed one, no more leases for windmills, which I thought was interesting. And he also killed the deal with electric mandate for electric cars. He said, hey, buy an electric car if you want one, but we're not going to change the auto industry right now for all that. So anyway, I just curious if you thought you might be seeing some more of that in Oz, as they call it.
Well, if the opposition party, which is the Conservative Party, gets in, we will. And out here, we have more mineable uranium than any place in the world. And yet,
I know, what a big resource. Oh my God.
They've been lying about it for years, making up stuff. But now, when you're on the cliff and they're pushing you off, oh yeah, Yeah. So we've
Just
got the
curious,
potential.
what is the EV market in Australia? Is that taken off at all? Or
There's a lot of them. I mean, I looked at a Tesla, but then I said to Vicky, just look at it. If you switch all the cars, you won't get in the gas station then where are they going to get the electricity from? You can't stick it into the ground. You have to manufacture the electricity, which means it's got to come from somewhere. They shut down our biggest coal plant in Victoria, not because there wasn't enough coal, because of the EV mandate.
Sure.
And I
Well,
don't, if you can prove me wrong that you can supply now and people can exist, I'm happy with that. But not until you've got that thing up ready to switch the switch over, do I want any part of it.
amen.
What would the move to electric stoves mean to the restaurant business, Dad, to get away from natural gas?
Huge.
Huge difference. Be expensive.
Yeah.
And
It's just huge. Yeah, it's people who have no idea. They wanted to put all these bike lanes in the city, so now they put the bike lanes in the city, and now no one comes into the city, and you can't get around, and there's no parking. So now they're saying, well, we'll fix up the bike lanes, and where do they get the money from? The money that was supposed to be used to drag people who weren't coming into the city. They just stole the money.
Yeah.
I mean, they wound up opening a drug rehabilitation and needle place and supply place in Richmond, which is a suburb adjacent to the city. And they built it right around the corner from the school. Now, if you tried that with a brothel, and there have been cases where companies have tried it, they run them out of the thing. But here you've got the same situation. Guys dying at the school in the playground.
Just doesn't make sense.
No.
So what do you think's going to be the future down there? You think they're going to head a little bit towards more conservatism? I mean, do Jim and I need to come down there and knock on some doors?
It's the best place on earth.
How many people are there in that metropolitan area? I bet our viewers don't know.
4 million.
4 million.
That's in the Melbourne
big
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's half the size of
you got
Chicago.
the Great Barrier. You got the Great Barrier Reef. It's the same size as the continental U.S. So I mean, it's a huge place for only 25 million people.
It is.
And you've got close to 4 million in Sydney and 4 million here. Well,
Is this Taco Bill outside of the metropolitan area of Melbourne?
Sure. Yeah.
Up into Sydney at all, or that?
No. We needed. You need the people, Jim, and you said it before. Either we didn't select it. We didn't have a program in place to take care of that, because you got to have a group that's going to go up there and be there 6 months.
Yeah.
Look, I think honestly, we got lazy because they were lined up at the door.
He had it going.
He had it going. But nothing, as you know, nothing lasts forever, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And finally, someone goes, "That Teschke kid, he's making tacos. I can make tacos better than him." Once it's and to be honest with you, I said to the franchisees, I said, "Listen to me. You're against opening more restaurants and getting the volume." I said, "The only thing that makes us viable is the food costs." We had 11-10% food costs. Some of the other places had 30 and 40% food costs.
Yeah,
and you have liquor
beans,
too, right?
Sliced lettuce, and a tortilla, and a little bit of meat. Come on, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, I know. I haven't been down to visit you, but had a couple friends who visited you, and you took care of them very nicely, and I appreciate that. But,
So you have alcohol too, Stan?
Yeah, we margaritas. We brought the first frozen margarita. We used to bring in tequila in 44-gallon drums from Mexico. Unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then we got the big fish bowls, the big goblet things that everyone,
you serve beer too?
Yeah, sure.
You serve?
Yeah.
Cool, right? Well, that's fantastic. Well, Stan, thank you so much for being with us. It's been a fantastic journey with you, and I hope you could leave the door open for us to come back and spend more time with you. I think the viewers
If I can help, if I can help anyone, either you'll learn what to do. I haven't made every mistake in franchising, but I'm getting close.
Okay. I understand.
No.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
It's been
Dan.
a pleasure, hasn't it, Jimmy?
I'll do
And,
anything for you guys. Never forget that. So thank you.
Well, I really appreciate it. I do have something I need to share with you, too. I wanted to share a fact, and I'm going to read it again because I don't want to misquote these.
We're looking forward to it.
According to bank, I put up with this all the time, Stan. According to bank reg data, as presented by Fox Business, bank reg data is a source for bank data. Okay. From January 24th to September 24th, U.S. credit card write-offs were $46 billion with a B, billion dollars in 9 months. That's up 50% over the same period in 2023.
That's scary. Yeah.
And in our introductory podcast, we talked about credit card debt racked up and regular debt racked up over Christmas here in the Christmas season. So it sounds to me like our viewers and listeners probably aren't part of this group, but maybe they know somebody that is. And maybe, Jimmy, we ought to have a financial services guy as a guest that owns a financial services company. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. And I know you've been talking to John McCauley, the owner of McCauley Financial, and maybe he could be available for our podcast in the future.
As a matter of fact, Jim,
it's what runs your business is finance. If you got to have that
cash flow, right, Sam?
Cash flow. Anyway, I mean, you can buy restaurants for nothing down virtually just on cash flow if it's there. If people don't realize that they got no money, you don't need money if you structure it. You got to find those deals, but they're there.
Yeah.
Especially now, like people, all of us in our 70s, there's a huge band of people that their kids want to work in marketing or IT or AI. They don't want to run trash routes or stores or business or tire places. And they'd be looking, they just want out. They want to enjoy their life and have some income coming in. And if you get I mean, they say that Harry Sonnenbaum, I think that was the guy's name, was really the genius behind McDonald's because he got them to buy the sites with his idea.
That's right. Yeah, that's very true. I want to tell you to have a great week. And thank you so much, Stan, for all your time. Jimmy, great job. And we'll see you again.
Thank you guys for letting me share that with you.
Thank you. All you viewers, we'll be dropping another podcast within a few days. Look on our website for the date.
Okay.
Thanks again, Stan.
Okay, take care.
Good night.